Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Hope you're doing well today. Heart of David. There's a few topics I'd like to describe today, just to talk about. Things that we've been hearing over the last few days, and maybe a few things that I just have on my mind. Earthlings. Certainly you've heard about what they announced, was it just yesterday? Or was it the day before that they announced it? In Britain. We have a mandatory identification, a digital ID that we're going to implement. And we're going to do it by the end of this parliament. So, man, that must be I don't want people who are, so this is a Christian channel, and people who are looking out for things like the mark of the beast. I want you to know that although it looks to us like things are set in stone, like it's just going to come anyways, which it will, it doesn't mean that people cannot raise above that for a specific amount of time, right? And doesn't it say that the Christians will do great exploits? Can you remember that? So I don't know exactly what that is pertaining to. I think we're seeing a lot of that stuff though, but when you look in China, okay, so for those who are fearing it, listen, what they're saying there, I believe, is coming. And I can see all the pushback from politicians, from the people, and I wondered, and I spoke over just some messages with another another brother in Christ, saying, you know, is this just, what did I say? You know, there's uprisings. Before he ever said this, there were uprisings in the UK, right? And that group managed to get over 1 million people. I don't know what the exact number was, but it wasn't 100,000. It was over 1 million. Yeah, I saw the amount of people from a drone view. And so I said, is it possible that they're implementing this now, trying to, because of that? And by the way, they're not doing it because of migration. They're doing it in the Hegelian dialect, you know. They're doing it in all Western countries, and it makes me wonder to what degree what they tell us. So like here in Canada, I don't mean to go off the rails, but it's still the same topic. That here in Canada, for instance, I was talking to one of my old best friends the other day, and I tried to tell people this, and he went and got his M1, his motorcycle, you know, just get the paper for your M1. I'm in Canada, and I'm not going to say exactly where I live, maybe some of you guys do, but the MTO, the Ministry of Transportation, there was one main place in my city, stupid, I don't know why there's only one place, but there's like a driving test center. And so a lot of people tend to go down there in the city. Listen, this isn't every second day, every week, every third week it's like this. I went down there 3 or 4 times. He went there once. That's 5 times. What he said matches what I say exactly. They would like to call me racist for saying this. I'm just saying what the truth is. They're trying to overload us. So out of about 120 20 to 150 people in there. Most were Indian and African and from Muslim countries, and the ratio was about 100, and so it was about 98% not Caucasian. You hear what I'm saying? And so I said to him, do you think this is a, no, I didn't say, I say this is a true, no, yeah, I did. I said, do you think this is a true reflection of them being new in the country? Or do you think these are people who have waited? No, they're new people coming in to do that. Because it's like that every single day. So if every single day it's like that, and there's 150 people there at any given time, it gives you an idea of what they're doing behind our backs. So eventually, listen, I go around in society, and I love all people, but I'll tell you something that, no, I don't want a predominantly Muslim, because we see what's happening in other countries. We see what happens when there's enough of them. They band together and they try to take over. They try to develop no-go zones and stuff. And I know I've kind of gone off, but this is on topic. You know what? The other day I thought this, and I almost cried. I'm not even kidding you. I go door to door selling some of products that I sell, and I see thousands of people. I deal with thousands of people. Okay, like I'll go, I don't know, I'll knock on 50 doors, and that's good for me for maybe a day. But over time, I've spoken to many, many people, and I'm telling you this, and it pains my heart to say this, but the kindest of them are the Muslims. People, Arabs from other countries. Man, they're so nice. Like the other day, and it pains my heart that they don't believe in Jesus, because they were brought up in family and proper manners, and it just isn't like that anymore. The guy was like, okay, I'll take a look at your website. What is it? He was like, he would have invited me into his house. And I thought about that later, and I wanted to cry. Hold on. And that's why you should pray for them. For a single prayer, right, from a righteous man. I'm only righteous because of Jesus Christ, because I believe in him. But the prayer of a righteous man avails much. You've heard that many times, which means that we could probably send them a dream. Say, Lord, please send them a dream of Jesus as we're hearing those things are happening. Because when you are in heaven and you find out what treasures are there for you, that's not what I want to go to heaven for, but that would be pretty cool. I'd like some people to walk up to me and say, you know what? Or float up to me to say, thank you for doing that. Right? That's what we're supposed to do for one another. So anyways, they are flooding our countries, and some take longer than others. Some have been in a position longer than others. And so it's under the guise. Think about how evil this is. This is what the UK is saying. The UK is saying that our immigration is so bad that we can't, with the Royal Navy, like one of the top 3 most powerful navies probably that has ever been, too. Not stronger than the US or China, but more advanced stuff. Bigger ships. In any case, I don't know, I forget how many ships they have, but they have more than enough to cover their costs. Like, don't be fooled by that a westernized country cannot control their border. The only one that really can't is like Canada, and even then, yes, we could put up monitoring stations so we could do it with technology and drones. Yes, we could. So they're lying to you. So they're using that guise of the Hegelian dialect to say, hey, here's the problem that we are creating, and here's the solution for you: a digital ID, mandatory by the end of my parliament. However long that parliament's going to be. I saw something yesterday about King Charles giving him a good talking to about this. Man, they're all in on this. Don't even like. And I could swear that I heard Donald Trump, who I believe is a biblical antichrist, meets every feature. No man in history has ever made those features. He does. Man, now the Jews want to. I saw something yesterday. They're sending him a letter from a Sanhedrin or something. Holy. They're trying to flatter him to get him. He's going to come and he's going to say, I'm God. Because they're going to pull him into the Sanhedrin talk. He's going to be a high leader or something. You'll see. But anyways, I keep getting off topic. So this is their plan. I could swear I heard Donald Trump in the UN assembly message that he was there. Something to the effect of, and I got this probably wrong the other day in a comment. I don't usually engage in any comments anymore, but this one I did. What was it? I thought he said something at the UN that was indicating that he also agrees with this monitoring, and I believe he will, with Palantir. But I don't want people in the UK to worry quite yet, because what they want to implement is just the same thing that's in China already. And I don't know the answer to this question, but I say, are the people in China who are born again believers, are they following this system? I mean, in terms of, do they have an ID? I'm sure they would give everyone an ID, whether or not they actually live by them. Is this a mark of the beast? Listen, I can't. If they give us all a digital ID, that's not the hand or the forehead, right? Yeah, so I wouldn't worry quite yet. If you're born again, God will lead you in the right direction. I can understand how it might feel a little bit frightening to you, and like I get it, and all the things that are happening in your country are happening in my country. Actually, it's worse. What I mean by worse is, like, you see, our country, Canada, is spread out over like 6,000 miles, like wide, just wide. The UK still has a bigger population than us, but I don't know. They're spreading people out everywhere, and man, they have to stop this. They have to stop this. And companies are hiring overwhelmingly, like Indian and Walmart, Costco, Tim Hortons. Why? Because the companies who are so greedy, they get kickbacks. They don't. It's not. They pay them a less wage. It's not like that minimum wage. It's that these companies get some type of kickback, and they're hiring non-native people. Just think of how evil that is. So, I thought this. So I'm just going to switch topics here. You may find this quite interesting. It's funny how things are connected sometimes. Do you know? So for the people who understand who Donald Trump is, I want you for a second to think about his building in New York City, the Trump Tower. How could a person who looks on a piece of, looks on the internet, looks on a piece of paper, and understands what this triangle, upside down triangle is? Okay, that's all they have to know. That it's satanic. As above, so below. There's nothing spiritual discerned in that. It's a satanic practice. It's witchcraft. It's symbolic, right? It's a symbol. So why is one built onto the, and you may have not heard this before, why is it built onto his building? Why is it 6 floors across? It goes 6 out this way, 6 down in a triangle, and it goes 6 out, 666. And then lives on the 66th floor to the 68th, but the main floor is the 66th. And the building is 666 feet high. You look on Wikipedia, it says 662 or 663, but I saw the architect's letter coming out and saying that it wasn't. It was 666. It only makes sense that it would be 666 anyways, based on all those other factors. Pretty close, but to not be, right? So, you may have not heard this before, and I just heard this 2 days ago. Do you know who W.R. Kirk is? And I don't know what, I'd have to go look, don't want to switch windows here, but it's Charlie Kirk's dad. So Charlie Kirk's dad, and I think that he is still alive. He was I think he was the main architect. He was certainly a big piece of the puzzle of an architect, if not the main architect of Trump Tower. Do what you will with that. I'm not saying Charlie wasn't saved, because I believe that man was. I saw his testimony. There's some testimonies that you can't make up. And so, I don't know. Is there any connection, correlation, or something like that? I don't know. I just wanted to stop there. I'm going to take a sip. I'm just going to pace for a second. I'm going to talk about something that may interest you, and then that'll be the end of the video. It's about Palestine. I want you to open up your mind about this. It's better to be honest about these things, I think. For those who believe, the synagogue of Satan, who they are, Jews who say they are, but they are not. I have no hate for the people of Israel. Their government, though, controls U.S. Congress. That is the truth. It's not an end times deception. It's true. They are the only country outside of the United States that can lobby the United States, which can affect laws, regulations. Some people think that the Noahide laws will come, and it'll come through Trump. And that's what the Sanhedrin thing is, in any case. You see, let's cut through the BS and just talk about what we see here. Are the people in Gaza really starving? From what I showed you, from that surgeon, that testimony, if you watched that he said drones are killing kids. And of course this is a propaganda war. And Israel is just as bad. I do believe there was a stand down order because the IDF soldiers have come out and said so. So I'm not using my subjective self. I see a lot of things building against Israel. Like there are 3 warships, one from Italy now. That's the first real westernized I know there was Spain, but Italy is saying something to break the siege, whatever. Is it true that people are starving? I believe it's probably true. I believe it's probably true. And there's a high number of people that have been killed. Now, listen, I know you got to get rid of Hamas. You do. But there are other ways, I think, other than just rooting them out. And so I don't want to get political, you know. When I say this, don't take this the wrong way. You'll see where I'm going with this. Is it wrong to recognize Palestine? Is it wrong to recognize Palestine? Ask yourself that. Write a 2-page essay. Send it to... Is it wrong to recognize Palestine? You say, well, Dave, that's evil, man. You know, like, is it? Let's tease this apart. Israel, the people in Israel, which, listen, I don't want to call them Jews because I don't think they are. Because the Jews started after David, you know, with the Jebusites in Jerusalem. That's where they were first called. And then Judah, right? There was just a long discussion there. They call their whole population Jews, but none of them practice Judaism. Most of them. And this is about Jesus Christ anyways. So no one is saved who practices Judaism. And people still do this, Christians. I know that land is going to get run the heck over because it says so. 2/3 will be killed. 1/3 will be saved through a fire. And, you know, it's talking about Zechariah and who are those people are going to be saved. I believe it's talking about the resurrection. But there is a question, of course, of who that 1/3 is. And I can't get... I know I've come to the conclusion of that answer before, but right now in the moment I actually don't remember that. But you are not saved by anyone else but Jesus Christ. No one is going to be magically saved on that day. I know what Zechariah says. I know all those things. We know in Ezekiel that we know Zechariah 2/3 are going to get killed. But we also know that whether they're the same battles, which they probably are, you know, Zechariah and Ezekiel, that God is going to do an awesome thing. All the nations who have come up against it. And I wonder this is tied into this. They're not the original Jews, guys. They're not. They're white, the European. They're white European. And the Jews who were there originally were mixed. They were mixed. There is no genealogy. It doesn't go that way. And I know what you're going to say. It's the people, God has brought them in, you know, the people who are of these tribes or whatever. If you want to think that, that's okay. But I believe that message is about people. God's going to bring people back into the land, not of Israel, but back from Babylon. All those messages you're reading from Isaiah and from Jeremiah are talking not about coming back to the land of Israel today, but from Babylon. You're going to have to look at that, because Isaiah wrote that, was alive before Babylon happened, and they returned from Babylon. There's a lot of evil going in the land. I'm just going to say that. Is it wrong to recognize Palestine? So saying that, we know the parable of the wicked vine dressers. God has taken all of it away from them. God took the kingdom of Israel away. He's gone. His presence isn't there in the same way. You don't believe me? Man, it says so in so many places in the Bible. that he has done that. They were a disobedient and hard-headed people, and God had enough of them, and they killed Christ. So, was it Tacitus that, after all of those revolts, after the temple where there were still some revolts, and I think his name is Tacitus. I always get this mixed up with another name. I think to put a thorn in their side, because he'd had enough of these people. I want you to remember this when I say this. Okay, I'm getting down to this. That I heard Pastor Adam Fannin say this on Law Liberty. Why do you believe that the Jews are God's chosen people when, number one, they came from Europe? They are white, northern white, just like I am. That's number one. They believe in the Babylonian satanic Talmud that hates our Lord. That's number two. What's number three, did he say? There were three things. And they don't believe in Christ. So why are you so gravitated towards them? Now, those who are practicing, who have, I'm not even going to call them Messianic Jews. They're just saved, just like you and I are. That is the only way they're going to be saved. And I hope a lot of them are. Just give me a second. Now I'm going to get at what I'm going to say. There are at least 5 or 6 places in the New and Old Testament, if not more, that describes that God is taking it away from them. Yeah, this is what he said. This was the third thing. So Adam and Noah, and all the way from Abraham to Moses, and even coming into, so right there to Moses, there was no Jews, right? There was only a period of, let's say, 1,500 years, and then God had enough of them, and there's been another 2,000 years. So let's just say there's a lot of time without that. It says in the Bible how God is not their nation, okay? You give it to a people who are deserving of it, who love our Lord. They were not willing. So this Roman general, he wanted to, pardon my language, he wanted to piss them off. He wanted to piss them off and call it a different land, and they called it the land of Palestine. God allowed it. So it was Palestine for a long time. And then, you had the Balfour Declaration because of World War I, and the British screwed over the Arabs and did not do as they were supposed to do, and talking about the lands that they would have. The British had their hands in everything. They screwed up everything. And then, in Jerusalem there had been a lot of fighting between people that had even turned into the SS in World War II. But there had been a lot of fighting because of this Zionist type of thing, bringing people into the land. There were more Arabs than there were Jews in the land of Palestine, you want to call it. And the Arabs were getting really angry, and rightfully so, because all these planned people were coming in. And not every Jew, like the Jews in Russia, around Russia, Ukraine, did not agree with this. They didn't want this. But there was the Zionist cause. Imagine people moving people into your land. You'd be angry if they were not, just like we're seeing right now. So then all those wars started, and the U.S. backed one side and another side. After the British mandate ended. So they protected them from each other for so long, like I don't know how long it was, say 25 years or longer. And the very day that they said they were ending the mandate, they said, we are declaring Israel. And that's where people think Isaiah 66 is. But Isaiah 66 has nothing to do with the modern day Israel. If you read very carefully, Isaiah 66 is about the millennial kingdom. Scroll to the bottom of Isaiah 66, it says so. That whole thing is about who has heard such things, who has seen such things, who has seen heaven, who has heard heaven. It's talking about the millennial kingdom. But people don't understand that. So my question is it wrong to recognize Palestine? That's my first question. I don't know. Maybe it is not, right? Maybe it isn't. Because it was called that before and there were no issues. It was the Zionists that have spun this, and I'm not saying that Israel didn't turn into a good nation. They did, but their government was not. And we're learning just how deep it goes. So if it's not wrong to, and you look in the Bible and you see in Joel, they split my land for gain. And apparently God is angry at this. And, we talk about things like the Valley of Jehoshaphat, he'll bring them into the Valley of Decision. I'm just trying to talk openly about this. So, no, I don't think a state-by-state solution will ever work. You know it, it's spiritual. Even if they were to get rid of Hamas and make a program of a side-by-side type thing, no, it couldn't. This is a spiritual war. But I wonder if it says they split my land for gain. Is that anger because of the people who are living in Israel? See what I'm getting at? Who you think are the people of God, although there are believers in there. I'm wondering this. Write in the comments. I don't read my comments anymore because it was affecting me mentally. But I'd still like to get some conversation going. Do you think God is going to get angry? So the land for gain. I think of Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. Riviera. I don't know. I have no idea. But is it possible that it has nothing to do with the people? It has to do with that it's my land. And they're going to split my land. This is my land. That's what I think it's about. So you can see why I talked about all those other things. And it's unfortunate to see these people supporting Hamas like you see it. And it doesn't do it any good by doing that. But all the pressure on all the cities and countries, I do believe, is the fulfillment of, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling. All those nations who would come up against it, right? And so, we don't know whatever. It's the apple of God's eye. And so the question is it still the capital? Is it still the apple of God's eye? Because if it is, that's probably what Joel is referring to. They split my land for gain. And it makes sense because it's all about money now. That's all it is. That's all this world has become. They have monetized everything. They have monetized us. Bill Gates wants to put a tattoo in our arms to replace a phone. Just think about that. A tattoo that cannot be removed. So it's like they want to monitor you. They want to get under your skin. That's where we have come. And the things that we don't know, underground lab type things, that's all I want to say. I'm going to get back to my schoolwork here, guys. But, in conclusion, I'll say this. That I like looking at things through a lens of, okay, let's just cut through this. Like they say, like a Berean, right? I want to tease things apart and reach the truth. What is this Gaza thing? What is all this? Are they really God's people? What does the Bible say? It used to be Palestine. Why is it so bad that it could still be? Was it God who brought them back into the land? And you know what? God may have brought them back into the land for Zechariah. I don't know. Finish transgressions. There's just a lot of talk, but I try to tread carefully about what I say. I try to be as honest as I can, and I admit I make mistakes. I probably make quite a few of them, but it's better to talk about these things, and when you learn those mistakes, that you correct them. God bless.